Obama talked about the importance of human rights, women rights, and women's rights, which I found very comical. Because in fairness, I can't be all negative about Obama. In fairness, Obama presided over Don't Ask, Don't Tell being repealed. Obama presided, I think one of his first acts was the Lilly Ledbetter Act, which tried to push for equal pay for equal women. Equal pay for equal work for women. So, in some areas, Obama has been good for LGBT people, for women. However, when Obama wants to talk about human rights, well, is it human rights when you go around the world droning and killing innocent civilians that your government then lies and tries to cover up how many innocent civilians you're killing? Is that human rights? Is it human rights to kill thousands, or we don't know the numbers. Could be millions for all I know. But let's just say hundreds of thousands of people in Syria, in Pakistan, in Yemen. Is that human rights? Or is that just acceptable? Yeah, we're going to kill some innocent people. That's just the price of doing business. It's certainly not worrying about people's human rights when, as President of the United States, you allow thousands of Native Americans, non-Native Americans, environmental activists, progressives, some conservatives, to be shot with rubber bullets, to be shot with tear gas, to be shot by grenades, to be shot with freezing water, when all of these people are unarmed in North Dakota at Standing Rock. That's not exactly worrying about human rights, President Obama. Human rights and worrying about human rights, you can't just worry about human rights when there's media there or there's a photo op opportunity. You got to worry about human rights at all times, whether it's in New York City, the biggest city in the world, or in North Dakota in Bumblefuck. Because human rights don't have a geography or a city. They're universal. And I could tell you, Barack Obama turned a blind eye. And he is still, to this day, today, he is President of the United States of America. And 2 days ago, there were human rights violations in Standing Rock. The same exact human rights violations we've seen for the last 7 to 8 months. 2 days ago, unarmed people were shot by oil police with rubber bullets and tear gas. So far, a 21-year-old white girl lost the use of her arm. So far, a Native American woman has lost her eyesight. There's hundreds of other cases of less severe injuries. Hypothermia, PTSD, broken arms, broken legs, more elderly water protectors who were having heart issues as they protested. So to me, human rights isn't really like a progressive thing or a conservative thing. It's not a liberal thing. It's not Democrat versus Republican. Do you want to be shot at for going through a protest? I kind of thought that's what democracy is about. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press. I think you have a right, if you are not violent, to have no violence be done to you. To me, that's just being an American, or it used to be being American. So when Obama talks about human rights or women's rights, he's only talking about it when there's cameras there. He's only talking about it when it's in a major city. But whether it's Standing Rock, what about the human rights for Michael Brown in Ferguson? What about the human rights for Trayvon Martin in Florida? Or Eric Garner in New York? Or Jordan Davis? I forget where that tragedy happened. I could go on with the unarmed African Americans who were killed for being black in this country. And granted, Obama cannot unilaterally put people in jail. There is a legal system in this country, even though it's a joke, the legal system in this country. But, Obama, while President of the United States, I am a white person, so I'm careful how I talk about African American issues because I'm not black. Obama decided he did not want to be the first African American president. He wanted to be just president. And I understand it's a tough position. He was the first African American president, and with that comes a lot of responsibility. That's just the truth. But he fundamentally decided he was not going to go out of his way to lobby specifically to help minority and poor communities. And that's what I think was one of his biggest failures. And black people and African Americans could speak about this better than I. But, you know, if I became the first Jewish president, let's say, I'd probably care particularly about issues that affect Jews. I'm being honest. You know, if innocent Jews were being shot up by police all over the world, all over the country, I'd probably do something about it. I would use my perch as being the most powerful person on planet Earth to shame police departments, to shame politicians who won't act, to organize, to galvanize my voters and my party to act. He didn't do that. Sure, he came out after Trayvon was murdered and a few people, and he made a speech and he shed tears, and I'm not minimizing that. I think it was genuine. But President Obama did not fight for African Americans, in my view. And I want to be fair. So to Barack Obama's credit, to his credit, I think one of his biggest accomplishments is the Affordable Care Act. President Obama, listen, if it were up to me, I would go for single payer, universal health care. Because I agree with Bernie Sanders that health care is a right. And if every other country could figure it out, so can we. The fact that we don't have single payer isn't because it can't work. It's a choice that the powerful make in this country. Although I would like single payer, although I think Obama could have gotten single payer, he didn't even fight for single payer. I do think the Affordable Care Act is a very big accomplishment. 20 million more people got insurance. And by the way, when I say I don't think he did enough for black people, in this case he did, because a lot of people that got insurance were black people who could not afford insurance. It wasn't only black people, but a large majority of people that got insurance that previously could not were low-income minority people. And to that, Obama deserves credit. Now, I don't think Obamacare is the ideal healthcare system. The deductibles are very high for most people. I don't think you have a great option of which doctors you want to go to. However, it is a better system than the one before. It certainly is. It is a better system than, if you have a pre-existing condition, go die. Nothing we could do. You don't have the money. It's a better system than the previous one, which if you didn't have health insurance, you go to the emergency room, you get the care, and then the taxpayers pay for you. So it is a better system, and for that, I give Obama credit. And for that, I say he did help a lot of African Americans, particularly with the Medicaid expansion that radical Republicans, governors around the state, through pure radicalism and extremism, decided not to accept his Medicaid expansion. There were Republican governors who did, to their credit. John Kasich accepted it in Ohio. A couple others also. As you could criticize Obama for things, you got to give him credit for other things. Again, I don't think Obamacare should be the system for the long term, but it's better than what came before. The bottom line is, when Obama talks about human rights and women's rights, one of the biggest problems in our country is the corporate media does not call out our politicians when they are being hypocritical, when they are lying. You know, journalism isn't like, oh, what Trump is tweeting isn't true. No. Journalism is showing that our politicians are full of shit. And allowing them to be full of shit are keeping the income inequality exploding, are keeping the injustices happening all over the world, from all over the country, from Standing Rock to Flint, Michigan, to East Chicago, Indiana, to Sanford, Florida, where Trayvon Martin happened, to Ferguson, where Michael Brown happened. You can't be for human rights when it's convenient for you, but turn a blind eye when it's not. So I don't give Obama a pass on being this bastion for human rights. Did he do some good things for African Americans? Yes, he did. Did he do some good things for women? Yes, he did. Presidents are not all good or all bad. And I think as a progressive movement, we have to be careful. I see a lot of commenters who view things very black or white, and I don't view things as black or white. There are gray areas. But I don't want to hear about human rights from Barack Obama, because let me tell you something. I was in North Dakota where people, I'm lucky I didn't get shot. Knock on Jew. People were getting shot left and right, all over the place, unarmed. Their weapons were their mouth. Singing and praying. That is human rights violations. And it doesn't happen in wealthy white neighborhoods.